The realtor just left. She says our house in Cincinnati will sell fast. 4 bedrooms, updated kitchen. The pool Robert installed 3 summers ago when I complained about the heat. Priced to move, she said, placing her business card on the granite countertop I picked out during happier times. Robert nodded, signed the listing agreement without looking at me, and guided her to the door as if I were a ghost in my own kitchen. He's leaving me, actually leaving. After 16 years, 2 kids, and a life built together, my husband is done. Not because he found someone else, not because he fell out of love, but because I spent the last 8 years pushing him away, denying him everything a husband needs from his wife, treating his desires like burdens and his love like an inconvenience. Is there anything I can do? I asked him yesterday, my voice cracking with desperation I haven't felt in years. He looked at me with eyes that used to burn with desire, now cold as January. You could have done something 8 years ago, 7 years ago, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, even last year, Miranda. But now there's nothing left to save. 8 years. That's how long I've been rejecting him. 8 years of headaches, of being too tired, of finding excuses, of making him feel like a pest in his own bed. 8 years of rolling away when he reached for me, of stiffening when he hugged me, of turning my cheek when he tried to kiss me properly. And now he's done. The man who once couldn't keep his hands off me, who wrote me poetry and planned romantic weekends, who made me feel like the most desired woman in the world, he doesn't even look at me anymore. He's already gone, just waiting for the house to sell so he can make it official. How did I become this person? How did I turn into the wife who treats intimacy like a chore and affection like an attack? How did I take a man who adored me and make him feel so unwanted that leaving became his only option? Let me tell you. Let me explain how I destroyed my marriage one rejection at a time. Robert and I met when we were both 25. I was working at a marketing firm. He was a physical therapist at a sports clinic. We met at a friend's wedding. He was a groomsman. I was a bridesmaid. The chemistry was instant, electric, undeniable. "Dance with me," he said at the reception, holding out his hand. "I don't dance," I lied. I danced. I just wanted him to work for it. "I'll teach you," he said, and the smile that spread across his face should have warned me. Robert didn't give up easily. We danced all night. He held me close during the slow songs, spun me during the fast ones, and by the end of the night, I was completely his. We had our first kiss outside the venue under stars and twinkle lights, and I remember thinking, this was it. This was the man I'd been waiting for. The first years were passionate. We couldn't keep our hands off each other, date nights that ended with us barely making it through the front door. Weekend mornings that stretched into afternoons because we couldn't get out of bed. Friends joked that we needed to get a room, even when we were just holding hands at dinner. "You two are disgusting," my sister Cheryl would say, but she was smiling. "Save some of that energy for when you've been married 10 years. We got married 2 years after that wedding where we met. I wore my mother's dress, altered to fit. Robert cried when he saw me walking down the aisle. Actually cried. Tears streaming down his face, not caring who saw. "You're everything," he whispered when I reached him. "Everything I ever wanted." Our wedding night was like something from a movie. Rose petals, champagne, him carrying me over the threshold of our honeymoon suite. He spent hours just looking at me, touching me, telling me how lucky he was. "I'm going to love you like this forever," he promised. "When we're old and gray, I'm still going to want you this much." I believed him. More importantly, I felt the same way. I couldn't imagine ever not wanting this man who looked at me like I was his whole world. Our son Tyler was born 3 years later, daughter Emma 2 years after that. The pregnancies were hard on me. Morning sickness, weight gain, stretch marks that made me hate my body. But Robert never wavered. He'd kiss my growing belly, tell me I'd never been more beautiful, hold my hair when morning sickness hit. After Tyler was born, things started to change. Not all at once. It was gradual, like a slow leak you don't notice until the damage is done. I was tired all the time. Breastfeeding was exhausting. The baby weight wouldn't come off. When Robert reached for me at night, all I could think about was how my stomach was still soft, how my breasts leaked milk, how I didn't feel like myself anymore. "Not tonight," I'd say. "I'm exhausted." "Of course," he'd answer, kissing my forehead. "Get some rest." He was understanding, patient. He'd hold me without expecting more, rub my back until I fell asleep, never complaining. That was my first mistake, taking his patience for granted, thinking it was infinite. After Emma was born, it got worse. 2 kids under 3, working full-time, trying to keep the house running. I was overwhelmed. Sex became another item on my to-do list. Something else someone needed from me when I had nothing left to give. "The kids need me all day," I'd snap when Robert tried to initiate. "Can't I just have my body to myself at night?" He'd retreat, hurt flashing across his face before he covered it with understanding. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pressure you." But he wasn't pressuring me. He was trying to connect with his wife, to maintain the intimacy that had always been the foundation of our relationship. I just couldn't see it then. All I saw was another demand on my time, another person wanting something from me. The space between us grew. First in bed, I started sleeping on the far edge, building a wall of pillows between us. Then in daily life, I'd tense when he hugged me from behind while I cooked. Pull away from kisses that lasted too long. Find reasons to go to bed early or stay up late. Anything to avoid the possibility of intimacy. "Are we okay?" Robert asked one night, about 4 years into this pattern. "I feel like you don't want me anymore." "Don't be ridiculous," I said, not looking up from my phone. "I'm just tired." "The kids are exhausting. Work is stressful. It's not about you." But it was about him. Or rather, it was about me and my complete inability to see what I was doing to him, to us. My friends didn't help. During girls' nights, we'd complain about our husbands' sex drives. "Brad wanted it twice this week," my friend Lauren would groan. "Like I don't have enough to do." "They're all the same," another friend Patricia would add. "Mike pouts like a child when I say no, as if I owe him something just because we're married." I'd nod along, sharing my own stories about Robert's attempts at romance. We'd laugh about hiding in the bathroom, faking sleep, the creative excuses we'd developed. It was a bitter little club, and none of us realized the membership dues were our marriages. "At least Robert's not as bad as some," I'd say. "He's stopped trying as much lately." "Lucky you," Lauren said. "Teach me your secrets." My secret was simple: reject him enough times, and eventually he stops asking. What I didn't understand was that when he stopped asking, he started dying inside. By year 6, Robert had mostly given up. He'd sleep on his side of the bed, careful not to touch me. His goodnight kisses became quick pecks. The love notes he used to leave in my lunch bag disappeared. Date nights became family outings with the kids because what was the point of alone time when I'd just reject him anyway? "Remember when we used to go dancing?" he asked one day, finding our wedding album in the closet. "That was a long time ago," I said, taking the album and putting it back on the shelf. "We're parents now." "Those days are over." "They don't have to be," he said quietly. "Robert, please." "I have a million things to do. I don't have time for nostalgia." I watched him deflate, shoulders sagging as he left the room. I told myself he was being dramatic. We were adults with responsibilities. We couldn't act like newlyweds forever. But he wasn't asking to act like newlyweds. He was asking to act like husband and wife. Like 2 people who loved each other and showed it. Like the couple we used to be before I decided that loving him was too much work. Year 7 was when I started noticing the changes in him. He joined a gym, started running marathons, threw himself into hobbies that kept him out of the house. Book club, hiking group, volunteer coaching for youth basketball. Anything that meant less time in a home where his wife treated him like an annoying roommate. "You're never here anymore," I complained one Saturday when he was heading out for a bike ride. "You don't want me here," he said simply. "Not really. You want someone to help with the kids and fix things around the house. You don't want me." "That's not true." "When's the last time you touched me, Miranda?" "Just touched me because you wanted to?" I couldn't answer because I couldn't remember. Touching led to expectations, and expectations led to disappointment when I inevitably said no. "I touch you all the time," I lied. "No," he said sadly. "You move past me. Around me. Never to me." He left for his bike ride, and I spent the rest of the day simmering with a hot, useless anger. How dare he make me feel guilty for not being in the mood? How dare he act like I owed him my body just because we were married? But he wasn't asking for my body. He was asking for my heart, my attention, my desire. He was asking me to want him the way he still wanted me, despite years of rejection. The breaking point came 3 months ago. It was our anniversary. 16 years. Robert made reservations at the restaurant where we'd had our first date. He arranged for his parents to watch the kids overnight. He bought me a dress, left it on the bed with a note, "For my beautiful wife. Can't wait to see you in this tonight." I should have been touched. Instead, I was annoyed. A dress meant he expected something. Overnight childcare meant he assumed we'd be intimate. The restaurant meant effort I didn't want to make. I wore the dress but complained about it all night. It was too tight. It wasn't. The restaurant was too loud. It was perfect. The wine was giving me a headache, my perpetual excuse. When we got home, I went straight to the bathroom, changed into my ugliest pajamas, and got into bed with a book. Robert stood in the doorway, still in his suit, holding the anniversary gift he hadn't had a chance to give me at dinner. "Miranda," he said quietly. "Can we talk? I'm reading. Please, just 5 minutes." I sighed dramatically, marking my page. "What?" He sat on the edge of the bed, not touching me. He'd learned not to touch me without permission. "I love you," he started. "I've loved you since the moment I saw you at that wedding. But I can't do this anymore." "Do what?" I asked, though I knew. "Live like roommates. Go months without touching. Feel like I'm bothering you by existing. I need more than this." "So what? You're giving me an ultimatum? Sleep with you or else?" "No." His voice was tired, defeated. "I'm telling you I'm dying inside. I'm telling you I can't spend the rest of my life feeling unwanted by the woman I love. I'm telling you something needs to change or I need to leave." "You'd leave me because I won't have sex with you?" I was incredulous, angry. "That's all I am to you? A body?" "You're everything to me," he said, and the pain in his voice should have broken through my selfishness. "That's the problem." "I'm nothing to you, not anymore." He left the gift on the dresser and slept in the guest room that night. Inside was a photo album he'd made, pictures of us through the years with handwritten notes. "The night we met, you changed my world." Our wedding day, the happiest day of my life. Tyler's birth, you made me a father. Emma's first steps, building our family with you is everything. The last page was blank except for one line. The rest of our story is unwritten. I hope we write it together. I cried that night. Not because I wanted to change, but because I was angry that he was making me feel bad about something I couldn't control. I didn't desire him anymore. Wasn't that normal after 16 years? Wasn't that what happened to all marriages? For 3 months, we lived like polite strangers. Robert stopped trying completely. No more attempts at intimacy, no more romantic gestures, no more trying to bridge the gap I'd created. He was kind but distant, present but not really there. Then last week, I found the apartment listing on his laptop, a 1-bedroom in downtown Cincinnati, available next month. "What is this?" I confronted him. "A place to live," he said simply. "You're leaving?" "I told you 3 months ago. Something had to change. Nothing has. Because you stopped trying, I accused. Robert laughed, but it was bitter. I stopped trying? Miranda, I tried for 8 years. 8 years of rejection, of being made to feel like wanting my wife was some character flaw. 8 years of you treating me like a pest for wanting to hold you, kiss you, make love to you. How much more was I supposed to try? So you're just giving up? What about the kids? I'll always be their father. That won't change. But I can't be your husband anymore. Not like this. I'll try, I said desperately. I'll make an effort. You shouldn't have to make an effort to want your husband, he said sadly. It shouldn't be work. It used to be natural for us, remember? You used to want me as much as I wanted you. That was 16 years ago. We were kids. We were in love. And I'm still in love with you, but you haven't been in love with me for a long time. He was right. Somewhere along the way, I'd stopped seeing him as my lover and started seeing him as another responsibility, another person who needed something from me. I'd turned our marriage into a job and then resented him for wanting more than a business partnership. The realtor left an hour ago. Robert's already started packing, neat boxes labeled with his precise handwriting. He's taking his clothes, his books, even the gaming system I always complained about. He's leaving the furniture, the photos, all the things we built together. You can keep the house until it sells, he said. I don't want to disrupt the kids more than necessary. Always thinking of others. Even now, when I've given him every reason to be bitter and vindictive, he's still the good man I married, the good man I pushed away. My sister came by yesterday trying to talk sense into me. Fight for him, Cheryl said. It's not too late. He won't even let me touch him now, I said. I tried to hug him yesterday and he stepped away. Can you blame him? You've trained him for 8 years that you don't want him touching you. Now suddenly you do? How's he supposed to believe that? So what am I supposed to do? I don't know, Miranda. But you better figure it out fast. Men like Robert don't stay single long. Some woman is going to see what you couldn't and snatch him up. The thought of Robert with another woman makes me sick. Someone else getting his morning kisses, his forehead touches while cooking, his arms around them at night. Someone else being loved the way he used to love me, before I killed it with 1,000 small rejections. I remember the early days, when we couldn't keep our hands off each other, when I'd call him at work just to hear his voice, when making love wasn't a chore but a celebration, a connection, a reaffirmation of everything we were to each other. I killed that, not all at once, but slowly, methodically, until the man who once cried at our wedding can't even bear to look at me anymore. Is there anything I can do? I asked him again last night. You could have not made me feel like a monster for wanting my wife, he said. You could have not rolled your eyes every time I tried to be romantic. You could have not made me feel ashamed for finding you attractive after 16 years. You could have done a lot of things, Miranda, but you didn't, and now I'm done. He's moving out next week. Already has the electricity scheduled to be turned on at his new place. Already changed his address with the post office. Already started his new life without me. The house feels empty even with him still here. The kids know something's wrong and they're not stupid. Tyler asked why Dad's been sleeping in the guest room. Emma wanted to know why Mommy and Daddy don't hug anymore. Sometimes grown-ups need space, I told them, hating myself for the lie. But the truth is worse. The truth is, Mommy pushed Daddy away so many times that he finally stopped trying to come back. The truth is, Mommy treated Daddy's love like a burden instead of a gift. The truth is, Mommy broke Daddy's heart one "not tonight" at a time until there was nothing left to break. I found our wedding video last night, watched myself promise to love, honor, and cherish, watched Robert's face as I said the words, the pure joy and trust there. I promised to cherish him, and instead I made him feel worthless. I promised to honor him, and instead I dishonored our bond by treating it like a cage. There's a notebook in his nightstand. I snooped. I'm not proud of it. Pages and pages of his thoughts over the years. the evolution of his pain laid out in his neat handwriting. Miranda barely kissed me goodbye this morning. Did I do something wrong? 6 months since we made love. She says she's tired, but she stays up watching TV until midnight. Tried to hold her hand at dinner. She pulled away. The kids noticed. I've stopped trying to touch her. It hurts too much to be rejected. I love my wife, but I don't think she loves me anymore. Not really. 16th anniversary tonight. Bought her a dress. She hated everything about the evening. I'm done. The last entry was from 3 days ago. Moving out next week. Feel nothing but relief. 8 years of feeling unwanted is enough. Time to find out if I'm still capable of being loved. He is. Of course he is. Robert is handsome, successful, kind, attentive, everything a woman could want. Some lucky woman is going to meet him and wonder how anyone could let him go. She'll appreciate his morning coffee, his forehead kisses, his need for connection. She'll want him the way I used to, before I forgot that being desired by your husband is a privilege, not a burden. I want to beg. I want to promise to change. I want to offer him everything I've denied him for 8 years. But it's too late. You can't revive a plant you've refused to water for the better part of a decade. You can't suddenly expect someone to feel wanted after years of being trained to believe they weren't. I'm taking the kids to my parents' house this weekend, he told me this morning. Give you time to process, figure out what you want to tell them. What do you want me to tell them? The truth, that Daddy loves them and always will, that this isn't their fault, that sometimes marriages end but families are forever. What about us? I asked. Is there really nothing left? He looked at me for a long moment, and I saw a flicker of the man who used to desire me. Then it was gone, replaced by polite indifference. There is no us, Miranda. You made sure of that. Every time you rolled away from me. Every time you treated my touch like an assault. Every time you made me feel like a pervert for wanting my wife. You didn't just kill our marriage, you killed us. I'm just signing the death certificate. He's right. I killed us with neglect, with rejection, with the 1,000 small ways I showed him. He didn't matter. I had a man who adored me, who desired me, who would have moved mountains to make me happy. All he wanted in return was to be wanted, to be touched, to be loved the way he loved me. It was too much to ask, apparently, and now it's too late to give. The realtor says we'll have multiple offers within a week. The market's hot, and the house shows beautifully. All those improvements Robert made over the years, the deck, the finished basement, the pool, they'll help it sell fast. Soon another family will live here. Another couple will sleep in our bedroom, make love without the weight of rejection between them. Another woman will stand in my kitchen, accepting her husband's embrace instead of shrugging him off. And Robert? Robert will find someone who wants him. Someone who lights up when he walks in the room instead of finding reasons to leave it. Someone who responds to his touch with enthusiasm instead of excuses. Someone who makes him feel like the amazing man he is instead of a nuisance to be managed. I had that man. I had his love, his desire, his devotion. I had everything. And I threw it all away because I was too selfish, too stupid, too blind to see that a husband who wants you after 16 years isn't a burden. He's a miracle. Now he's leaving. Actually leaving. And there's nothing I can do but stand in the wreckage and know that I was the one who lit the match. 8 years of rejection. 8 years of excuses. 8 years of making him feel unwanted. He's done. And I'm finally understanding what I've lost. But understanding doesn't bring back love once you've killed it. It just makes the loss hurt more.